Tonight on CTV News at 5.
I have a young kid at home and a wife that's missing me. And adding an extra 4 days away from home really sucks.
Not ready for takeoff. Smaller airports experience big flight frustrations.
Honestly, when you catch the big waves, it sort of feels like you're flying for a minute.
Surf's up. Life rolls on at this one-of-a-kind event.
I'll sing, but if I'm going to sing, I'm singing Johnny Cash.
And meet the Johnny Cash girl. A Cape Breton teen goes viral for her vocals.
Cooler temperatures this week compared to last. Still not a lot of rain, though.
Live from the Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Panopalis. Thank you for joining us. First at 5 tonight, flight status. Air travelers are feeling the turbulence of the Air Canada flight attendants strike, with thousands of itineraries thrown into a tailspin. As CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, smaller airports in our region with fewer flights and options are weathering elevated stress levels as passengers try to get off the ground. Ryan.
Maria, I'm here outside the McCurdy Sydney Airport, where today the early morning Air Canada direct flight to Toronto was cancelled, and that's been one of the staple flights out of this airport here in Cape Breton for the past number of years now. And it didn't take me long today to find out that the impacts of this Air Canada strike, well, they're pretty far-reaching. There were only 2 flights set to fly out of and into the Sydney airport today, and one of each has been cancelled. It's a similar story at some of the Maritime's other smaller regional airports.
Well, I'm stuck here now till Thursday night with a redirecting flight, which will bring me home Friday night.
Michael Bergeron was supposed to board an Air Canada flight home to Prince Edward Island today from Edmonton, where he spent the weekend at the National Half Marathon Championship. That flight was cancelled last night, so now he won't return until 4 days later. That leaves his wife home alone with their 8-month-old son for the rest of the week.
I have a young kid at home and a wife that's missing me. And adding an extra 4 days away from home really sucks.
So right now I have a flight that's scheduled to leave in 7 hours.
Monica Dutt is traveling from Cape Breton to Zurich, Switzerland with her 16-year-old son, Kale. They made it from Halifax to Toronto on a Flair Airlines flight and are supposed to fly across the Atlantic with Air Canada, but have decided not to risk it.
Unfortunately, that flight, I'm assuming, won't go ahead. I did, at a much greater cost, book another ticket early last week.
Passengers have a right to alternate transportation when their flight is canceled.
Air passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukac said that if an airline can't rebook someone within 48 hours of their original departure time, the onus is on them to buy you a ticket with a competitor and cover associated costs like ground transportation. And at smaller maritime airports where there might not be many alternative flight options to Air Canada, he says there should be plenty of cases where the airline has to pay up.
So for example, from Charlottetown, if you have a passenger who has no other flight from Charlottetown but Air Canada, then Air Canada may have to buy them a ticket from Moncton or possibly St. John or Halifax.
Before boarding her flight to Zurich, Monica Dutt said that despite the stress it has caused her, she has taken a stance on the issue.
I do fully support the flight attendants. Honestly, I didn't know much about their work conditions until the media the last few weeks.
And Maria, I was also told today that the Dartmouth Dry senior men's baseball team is scheduled to fly out to Regina later this week to compete at Nationals. And while last I checked, their flight was still scheduled to leave on time, they're still kind of left in a position where they are checking the website and crossing their fingers that they don't have to make any last-minute rebookings or change of plans, Maria.
Oh, so many people scrambling. Thank you, Ryan. CTV's Ryan McDonald for us in Sydney this evening. All right, we're going to head over to the anchor desk now, where Todd Battis is standing by with details on another leading story in the headlines.
Yeah, hi, Maria. Of course, we are going to have more on the Air Canada situation at 6 o'clock, but the wildfires in the Maritimes continue to top the news, and the one in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County continues to grow. That fire is now more than 3,000 hectares. Rain last night, well, it didn't make much of a dent in the track of the fire. It did help cool things down a bit and give some relief to the crews, but the fire is very much raging at this hour. We will get the latest from our Callum Smith. Now, in New Brunswick, there are 35 wildfires burning tonight. 6 of them remain out of control, including the biggest, the Ophir fire burning near Miramichi. But officials are getting some help from the weather, and that fire has been listed as contained. We'll have more at 6 o'clock. The owner of a St. John grocery store has had enough with shoplifting. He's taking to social media with surveillance camera video where he's confronting thieves he catches in the act in his store. And he says it's becoming a daily occurrence. We'll speak with him in your newscast. Right now, let's speak with Kaylin Mitchell, who has an update, well, a look at the current conditions around the region, and a bit of a stark contrast to last week, Kaylin.
Oh, yes, certainly, Todd. And big change over a week as far as temperature conditions go. It happened as we had successive cold fronts come through, one just before the start of the weekend and then one right at the end of the weekend. You can see that temperatures today much milder, mostly sitting up around the high teens and low 20s. We're moving into the first part of this evening, and throughout this week, temperatures are going to remain on the milder side. Taking a look at the winds, they're out of the north. This is not as helpful for the wildfire situation today. They're on the blustery side. They're being sustained between around 15 and 30 kilometers per hour. We are getting occasional gusts reported between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. It's also a lower humidity coming in these northerly winds off of the continent, so a bit of drier air. The wind gusts are going to be coming down as we move through tonight, and tomorrow's winds will just be on the breezy side. Still a chance of a couple showers this evening around the north shore of Nova Scotia, locations in Cape Breton, but it's high pressure moving in from the west of us, so generally dry conditions coming up for tomorrow. Far down to the south, we have Hurricane Erin, major Category 4 hurricane, but the good news when it comes to Erin is that the forecast track continues to take it far to the east of the Maritimes as it makes its way up towards the North Atlantic. Doesn't look like we can expect any onshore weather impacts from that storm system. I'll have more in the forecast, though, coming up later on. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. We'll hold you to it. Right now, though, there was some spirited competition on the basketball court this past weekend. The 3-on-3 tournament wasn't all about winning, though. As CTV's Jonathan McInnes shows us, the main goal was to teach youth about diversity and inclusion.
Hundreds of young basketball players in grades 5 to 12 hit the hardwood in Halifax this weekend to play the game they love and to learn an important message.
We use basketball as a tool to translate a deeper message, and that message is anti-racism. So we use a tournament to bring everyone together from different ethnicities, and everyone fights together as an active cause.
The tournament was a 3-on-3 format and included conversations with guest speakers about anti-racism, diversity, and equality. The key for Johnson is the age group that is the target of the messaging.
And at a young age, I think it's easier to get a message across, and it turns into habit. So we teach them now how to be kind to others, how to not look at people differently because of their skin color. As they grow up and share those same values and they move on in life.
Participants enjoyed a weekend of competition and camaraderie.
I think it's important for the youth to know this because it's a good message. It's something that people need to know, and for someone like Chris to spread this message, I think people will listen to him more than like some random person who doesn't know much about basketball.
I think it's a great idea to bring a lot of people together to have fun and also play the sport that they love and be with their community and their friends.
That's the point of this tournament. As games play out on the floor, lasting friendships are made off of it. Jonathan McInnes, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Jonathan. Time for our first break here on CTV News at 5. When we come back, though, we'll take you to Parker's Corner.
It's on paper, it's on a sign. This is what all these people believe in.
The late Parker Grant Cogswell is honored for his legacy of acceptance. The special dedication next on CTV News at 5.
It's a celebration of film.
Hello?
The Oxford Theatre's open to the public.
You get to walk the red carpet, be filmed with your friends, and just take part. I mean, that's an incredible amount of fun.
Thousands took part in the St. John Pride Parade on Saturday. The parade is the flagship event of the Port City's 10-day Pride Festival, which officially wrapped up yesterday. The festival also included workshops, performances, and a pride-affirming church service.
We have a right to love. We have a right to be loved.
There's 72 places where my existence as a person is straight up against the law, and it shouldn't be like that. So we have to continue to fight.
The The parade began at the city's Long Wharf and ended at the Area 506 Container Village, where there was an after party everywhere in our region. Pride Cape Breton also wrapped up its festival on Sunday. And a few hours before the Pride Parade began in St. John, there was a special ceremony in the city's uptown to honor a mother and son and their commitment to equality in the community. As CTV's Nick Moore reports, Parker's Corner is a place to celebrate authenticity and acceptance.
It had the look and feel of a neighborhood block party, but there were tears as well at the official dedication for Parker's Corner in uptown St. John.
Parker's Corner will officially stand as a civic landmark, a tribute to love, resilience, and the power of living authentically and proudly.
The late Parker Grant Cogswell was a longtime advocate for the LGBTQ+ community in St. John. He came out in the early 1980s when there was little visibility in the gay community. Parker began to change that.
Values and traits passed down by example from his mother are what gave him the strength to come out. Parker and Judith were very, very much the same person.
The late Judith Meinhardt Thomas co-founded the St. John chapter of PFLAG and helped to organize the first Pride Parade in St. John in 2003.
To me, Judith is always the parade marshal, no matter what year it is.
Her husband, Ralph Thomas, says Judith was a champion for diversity, inclusion, and equality.
Together, Parker and Judith helped shape a St. John that embraces all people.
The foundation for Parker's Corner began shortly after Parker was diagnosed with cancer.
We started sitting here when Parker was deeply into the chemotherapy.
Andre Gallant says even when his husband was gravely ill, Parker still found a way to bring people together.
Slowly, neighbors, friends would join us. That's what we had to look forward to until his time was done with us. He would be so proud of this. Parker would be beyond words, which again is a surprise.
The corner of Carmarthen and Mecklenburg Streets becoming an official landmark means a lot in the neighborhood.
It's just what it represents. It's on paper, it's on a sign. This is what all these people believe in. It's a welcoming community.
Let this continue to be a place where people gather, where memories are shared, and where love continues to be felt.
Nick Moore, CTV News, St. John.
And where Parker continues to bring people together.
Yeah, even his legacy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Very sweet. Beautiful weather over the weekend to go to an event like that and other events as well, although we are hoping for a little more rain, Kaylin.
It would be nice to get a little bit more, absolutely. Temperatures have cooled down, though, so maybe for people who are heading outside for some exercise, brisk walks, for example, might have been a little bit more comfortable for that. We're looking out at the Halifax waterfront. I'll have more after the break.
Kaylin Mitchell joins us once again for a look at how things are shaping up outdoors. And Kaylin, we did get some very welcome rain last night. Unfortunately, it's just not enough.
It's a start, but we need more like it. Maybe another 4 to 6 rounds like it, and then we'd start to make some good progress. Let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset times, and for that, we're going to go to Sydney and Cape Breton for today. We're in behind that rain. They did linger with some partly cloudy conditions today and some blustery winds, and there were even some isolated showers passing across the island. There's still a low chance of a shower, actually, through the first part of this evening for areas in Cape Breton around the north shore of Nova Scotia. Otherwise, as we move into the overnight, it's going to be mainly clear conditions, brisk temperatures, dry weather ahead in the forecast through much of this week as this area of high pressure moves in from the west, far down towards the south of us. That is Hurricane Erin. As we touched on at the top of the newscast, it does look like Erin is going to take a pass far enough to the east of the Maritimes, outside of Sable Island, to hold its weather impacts offshore. Now, that being said, late this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're likely to see increased wave action around coastal areas, especially the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, and maybe the occurrence of more rip currents in around the Maritimes as well. So maybe some caution still needed around coastal areas at the end of this week. Now, I mentioned showers in Cape Breton. You can still see some of those streaking in off the Gulf of St. Lawrence across locations. Those should be coming to an end later this evening by around midnight, say. And then after that, we're looking at those clearer conditions. So heading into the start of the day for tomorrow, brisk start for all 3 maritime provinces, and then mostly sunny in the afternoon. There is going to be some broken, thin, high cloud cover around the region, but no precipitation expected out of that, and a few clouds around for Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. Now, winds for today on the gusty side. That, of course, is not helpful when it comes to the wildfire situation. Now, the winds are going to be diminishing a bit as we move through tonight, and tomorrow's winds down by about 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. So more on the breezy side for both New Brunswick and western Nova Scotia, but still maybe a bit more blustery for both Prince Edward Island and eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton, where some of the gusts could still be up between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. Clearing sky tonight, cooler temperatures for August. We got a frost advisory in effect for the northwestern corner of New Brunswick. Some of the lowest elevations, areas say between hills, some of the valleys, some of the very wide open fields. Low risk of some patchy frost for tonight, as some low temperatures for those areas fall between 1 and 3 degrees. Other parts of the Maritimes for tonight can expect low temperatures mostly in the range of the high single digits into the low teens. And then in the forecast for tomorrow, you know, for August, these temperatures are a little bit below seasonable. We're mostly looking at highs in New Brunswick between 20 and 23 degrees. In Prince Edward Island, most of the high temperatures tomorrow will be around the high teens. And for Nova Scotia tomorrow, high temperatures will be around the high teens and low 20s. All right, let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is 8-year-old Laurel Nogler from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Laurel has sent us a drawing of things that represent the 4 seasons, and I can see the apple tree and the jack-o'-lantern for the fall season ahead. If you'd like to be one of our weather watchers, then come into CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or you can email me at kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. So a weekend surfing event brought people with disabilities back to the sea. As CTV's Jonathan McKinnon shows us, it was an extra special day for one participant in particular.
Martinique Beach hosted the annual Life Rolls On surf celebration over the weekend.
It's amazing. Honestly, when you catch the big waves, it sort of feels like you're flying for a minute.
The 10-year-old event allows people with disabilities to get back into the ocean and ride waves.
I was just telling my husband that falling in the water and getting to taste the salt water again was so amazing because I forgot what it tasted like. So it was great to be able to have that experience and just all the support and love that comes with it.
April Hubbard has been here before. This is her 4th time attending. This one, however, is more emotional than the others.
I'm terminally ill and won't be able to make it out again, but knowing that this would be my last time in the ocean and my last time getting to surf a wave, and the whole team was so supportive of me, wanting to stay out there past their lunch break just so I could get another wave, and yeah, it was just such an amazing feeling.
Bringing that type of experience to people is what it's all about for organizers and volunteers who work the water.
We've had participants who hadn't been in the water in over 20 years. They had no way to get down and get in. So they get to get in, float, sink a little bit as well, and just to experience that feeling of being free in the water.
Yeah, you just see the joy and the fun, and as a volunteer, someone in the water with them, you're having fun and it's exciting and an adrenaline rush, and you just see how important it is for people.
This surf session is the only event of its kind in Canada that ensures everyone has a chance to ride the waves. Jonathan McGinnis, CTV News, East Pepeswick, Nova Scotia.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Jonathan. Taking a break. When we come back, we'll walk the line to this story.
I'm Brianne Foley in Halifax. Coming up on CTV News at 5, cash and karaoke. A Cape Breton teen's performance of One Piece at a Time has earned her a new title. Meet the Johnny Cash Girl next.
Welcome back. A young Cape Bretoner did the man in black proud and became a viral sensation in the process. As CTV's Brianne Foley shows us, the Johnny Cash Girl is getting recognition, one piece at a time.
Well, I left Kentucky back in 49, went to
well, I'll sing, but if I'm going to sing, I'm singing Johnny Cash.
Anne McQuarrie wanted a quiet night. Instead, she made lots of noise on the internet.
I was on my way home from school. I was with my dad, and my mom called and said she was at the tavern, and she wanted us to go and sing karaoke. So I was kind of tired. It was late-ish, and I was like, at first it was like, no, I'm not going to go. And then we were like, okay, we'll go. We got there, and I was just going to eat and then leave, but she was like, no, you have to sing a song.
We drilled it out so that it was fitting with a little bit of help from an adapter.
Her rendition of One Piece at a Time reached farther than she could imagine.
Someone came up to me, 2 people actually, and were like, oh, are you the Johnny Cash girl? I remember like calling my brother who lives away, and I was gonna tell him, and he already knew. He was like, yeah, like this is crazy, like. And then we were just like checking in throughout the day, like being like, and now it's at this many. Like it was going up like crazy.
So her brothers had to jump into the ring of fire and make it a family affair.
And that's when we noticed that something was definitely wrong.
Did it with my 2 older brothers, and that was a lot of fun too. And some of the comments were like, oh, when am I gonna catch one of these performances?
As for Anne, she's still shocked she walked the line.
It's definitely cool. I'm really surprised that it happened with that song, because that's not something that I would normally do. So it's pretty funny that that's how it happened, but that's the internet, I guess.
The Johnny Cash Girl has over 800,000 views and counting. The McQuarrie family and, of course, Inverness are pushing for 1 million. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Halifax.
And I think she'll get there. It's her voice. I mean, it's like the singing voice, but her speaking voice is so rich, too.
If you're doing any sort of musical performance, you're getting any sort of comparison to Johnny Cash, you're definitely doing something right, for sure.
Snaps, for sure. Yeah, excellent. All right, so you've got a busy day in the Weather Center today.
Yeah, we got some things to talk about 6. We're going to recap some of the rainfall reports from this weekend into the start of this week, and we'll bring you an update as well on Hurricane Erin. So those things coming up at 6.
Lots to keep an eye on. Of course, you and Todd will be back at 6. Katie will be back at 6 as well, and Katie's in for me tomorrow. I'm going to be off tomorrow, but back on Wednesday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have yourselves a great evening. The national news is next. Bye-bye.